Café Anyway. Hello there, it's Mike Matthews. How are you today?
It's Mike's Daddy Podcast.
Here in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth, in the land of Ameritopica and Mike Matthews.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
I hope you're enjoying your day today. For some of you, it might be a holiday, and you could be dancing around going yay. And maybe you're saying things like, oh, that's really nice of you, Mike. You're so sweet and special, and I like you, and I'm overly nice. Which is sort of that
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Exactly what that Chat GBT Sky voice is like. It is awful.
Mike's
And I don't say that
Daily
about many things.
Podcast.
And Scarlett Johansson,
Yeah.
she's got a little bit of German background, as I do. Scarlett says OpenAI stole her voice. ChatGPT Sky voice is eerily similar to her, who was the voice of the artificial intelligence assistant in the 2013 movie Her. Yes, that movie came out over 10 years ago now. Her. Listen, I've heard the voice. It's horrible. It's like a voiceover, a female voiceover artist who you hear on every single commercial about, do you feel bloating? Are you experiencing bloating pains? And do you sometimes feel that you're irregular? Baba has a new pill for you, etc. I know I've heard those commercials 80 billion times, and I still can't recite them from heart. At any rate, Café Anyway, just horrible. And it was the clip that I've heard a couple times is this guy is trying to talk to this ChatGPT OpenAI voice, and it's like, come on. I know that's very curmudgeonly of me, but how fake people instantly know.
And here's today's podcast picture.
My whole thing in life is people instantly know when it's fake or insincere or inauthentic. And that obviously is artificial intelligence. But can you just take the artificialness out a little bit is all I'm saying. Podcast picture is a real picture that I took recently in the beautiful town of Livermore, the Sycamore Grove Park, and this nice little creek. See it at mikesdailypodcast.com. And I swear I will take better pictures. But you can see they're not bad pictures, but it feels like I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel. I went to this wonderful park with this guy here, the late great Basil the Boxer. We went there many years back. And I took another dog by the name of Chewy there, and he got to play in the water. I don't think his owner likes to let him off leash, but I'm like, whatever. This dog is super nice. And there's no one around, so... Quiet vacationing. Millennials are more likely to be quiet vacationing. Nearly 4 in 10 say they've taken time off without communicating it to their manager. And as I am a manager, I know this. Mike, I'm not feeling very well today. Oh, the worst one I got was, I think, maybe 2 years ago. This guy, he was moving, and he told me he was going to be back. He'd been off for a week. He'd been off because of COVID for 2 weeks, etc., and I really needed him to be back.
The word of dog.
Oh, yeah. Here's Basil telling you all about the time he went to Sycamore Grove Park in Livermore. He had a great time. So I've been, come on, you need to get back. He tells me the day he's supposed to come back, he texts me, doesn't call, texts, because that's the cowardly way to go. Texted me and said, Mike, I hurt my hands when I was moving over the weekend. I can't come in today, but I'll be in tomorrow. They always give you that nice little caveat, that little dangling carrot. But I'll be back tomorrow. So, because I'm a stupid manager, I gave him the benefit of the doubt. Oh, wait, no, let me back up. because I'm a manager that works in California and you have to give him the benefit of the doubt, I gave him the benefit of the doubt. The next day he shows up, absolutely nothing on his hands. No cuts, nothing.
Mike's Matthewsman Park.
The front panel will close automatically. Please remain seated at all times.
I know, it's an amusement park. It goes up and down, these stories. It goes up and then down. And then he had no cuts on his hands and he left. He left actually for a job in Livermore. And when he did, suddenly my stress level went down. So he did us both a favor. But yes, that was ridiculous. He did quiet vacationing all the time. And I know others have. So let's go back and we talked about millennials. Now let's talk about people that ain't millennials. They're maybe a little bit older than Gen Xers, the boomers. A gray cloud over marriage. Gray divorce rates have doubled for those over 50 and tripled among the 65 plus crowd. And us Gen Xers are fast approaching that crowd. So yeah, something to be aware of. I don't know if divorce is always the answer. I think that there's a time. Now, my lovely lady friend and I have both been divorced, not from each other, but from other people. And we're lucky we found each other. We've been together a long time. I think, and she's a marriage therapist. And so we have a lot of discussions about this. Oh, and about Trump doing a rally in the Bronx, because she's from the Bronx, my lovely lady friend. And she's Puerto Rican. So she said, I told her, hey, Trump was at in the South Bronx doing a rally. She goes, did he throw the people paper towels? Because that's what he did in Puerto Rico. I'm sure that joke was said often in the Bronx. A lot of Puerto Ricans in the Bronx. So my point is, always have paper towels around. No. Don't waste them, though. What you use a paper towel for, you can use a regular towel for, or a rag. Why do we use so many paper towels and kill so many trees is my question. Oh, back to you in the audience listening to this. You know how I do
Mike's cassette cubbyhole.
Anyway.
Here at Café Anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth. Well, cassette tapes are back in style. Taylor Swift's The Tortured Poets Department sold over 1 million physical units, physical cassettes, 1.64 million of them in the first week of sales. I'm sorry, let me back up. That's overall stuff that she sold. That includes vinyl, CDs, and cassette tapes. 1.64 million. But actual cassettes she sold, this is still impressive, over 21,000.
Mike's out of left field recordings.
Recording everything captures actions that will never again be repeated.
And if you go to mikesdailypodcast.com and you go over there where the little hamburger is, you know what a hamburger is. When you talk about websites, it's always those 3 lines that are horizontal. If you hover over that or click on that, you will find the Mike's cassette cubby hole. Unless I move that. No, wait a minute. Let me back up. I don't have a hamburger on my... Why did I think I had a hamburger on my website? No, I just have a big blue thing at the upper left-hand corner that says home. And when you hover over it, you see at the bottom it says cubby hole. And you click on cubby hole and it takes you to Mike's cassette cubby hole. And you can listen to... I have put a bunch of cassettes on my website that featured me when I was on the radio 35 years ago. So that's fun to listen to. But yes, you can see that at mikesdailypodcast.com. So Taylor Swift sold over 21.
And now we return you to our regularly scheduled program with Mike Matthews.
That's what this program is, your regularly scheduled program. And over 21,500 cassettes. Cassette tapes. She actually sold those. That blows my mind. She also sold 759 CDs. Actually, 759.5 thousand CDs is what I meant. So over almost 760.
Ginormous.
That's a ginormous amount of CDs, 760,000. But the most she sold was vinyl. 860,000 vinyl records. Good for you. That's the one thing. She's the Tortured Poets Department. That's the latest album, but she is also a tortured soul, as we all know. And she's an old soul. And I always find it fascinating how she harkens back to an era she wasn't even alive in. And she was alive in the last few minutes of the 80s. But she somehow carries all of this gestalt and Durm and Drom, and what's the other Sturm and Drom? Sturm and Achtung. Je ne sais quoi. What other foreign word from Europe can I pull? She gets a lot of angst. No, she just gets a lot of je ne sais quoi from the land of the 80s. I feel she pulls a lot from that in her music. I don't know. That's exactly a good. I think that's an excellent critique. I'll leave it there. Americans are going into debt buying groceries, though. The average cost of groceries is what? $5,703. That works out to about $475 per month. Oh, okay. So for the year.
Mr. President, are you suggesting President Biden's using cocaine?
I don't know what he's using, but that was not. Hey, he was higher than a kite. And by the way, it was the worst address I've ever seen. State of the Nation. I'll tell you, State of the Union. That's not State of the Union because he doesn't represent us properly. That I can tell you.
That I can tell you. And the address that I had in the Bronx was the wrong one. And I was lost and I couldn't find where I was. So I needed a paper towel to write on. But the average cost of groceries, that was the worst Trump impression. I wasn't feeling it today. For the whole year, costs of over $5,000, $5,703 is what I meant to say. And that works out to $475 per month in groceries. So the average annual food at home prices were 5% higher last year than the previous year. Groceries shot up, actually. When grocery prices first shot up recently, the year was 2021. And that doesn't look good for Biden, because that was the first year of his presidency. About 70% of all grocery transactions.
The Fascinating Material Project.
Yes, this is all fascinating material. About 70% of all grocery transactions are through credit or debit cards. And you know, that may not be a good thing with the amount of debt that Americans have. And then when you've got debt on your credit card, that the interest rates are through the roof, even though Biden is trying to fight that. While 33.4% of adults who used a credit card for groceries repaid the charges in full, 20% of adults paid less than the full, and that means
a fine article.
You silly, great, fat article.
This is a wonderful, fat, fine article, and thank you to Rob Black for it. I produce his podcast, and he is on the radio on AM 1220 KDOW weekday mornings, and he is also on Cron TV Monday through Thursday in the 9 o'clock hour. So if you got the 20% not paying the full amount of the credit card, that means 7.1%, over 7% did not make the minimum payments, and that means credit card rates average for your interest rate, the highest rate on record, it is now at 22.8%. That is so much money you're throwing away if you don't pay off your credit cards. Over 22%, almost 23%. And it is the highest rate on record. Households with greater levels of food insecurity were more likely to use payday loans, but now pay later programs. Let's not hear it for that. Let's not applaud those things, because that's also not the way to go. Unfortunately, people are desperate and have to use those. Pay later programs or saving to pay for basic needs. What is it? The SNAP program is getting cut back. and those other programs to help feed people that don't make enough to feed the kids. There are food pantries, but yeah, it is a crazy situation. And then we've discussed how bad restaurants are, how expensive they are, and there's really no point now. There are some fast food restaurants that are trying to bring people back, but of course they're going to charge a lot because they have to, because minimum wage now in California.
We love you, Mike.
Thank you. Has gone up to $20, so now they're going to pass that cost to you. But that is, and then there's this other thing about the class of 2024. It's been harder for people with fresh diplomas to get jobs. Entry-level hiring is projected to fall almost 6% this year compared to last year. Entry-level... That's not anything to laugh about. Class. We need to talk. Entry-level employee confidence is the lowest it's been since 2016. Many soon-to-be grads submitted over 100 applications in order to land a job. 100. Wow. I think the job I got in 2007, by the time I got the job, I had submitted over 100 applications, and I ended up getting a job and I had not quit the job I was doing. So I was doing a job, but trying to get another one. And they actually got me. That was a good situation because through their connections, they got me another job that was better paying. So that rarely happens. I don't think that happens that much. But when it does, you should take advantage of it. Parent pleaser industries like finance, consulting, and especially tech are the most challenging to get into. Computer science is a major bummer. Big tech layoffs and a hiring pivot, not to kombucha, but to AI-focused roles means they aren't getting heavily recruited. Thank you, AI, and your fakety-fake voice that you have that's not Scarlett Johansson, but sounds like a bad, poor man's ripoff. Yeesh, it's terrible, that voice. Have I mentioned? Software engineer hiring for software engineers has dropped 30% from pre-pandemic levels. So it is definitely a thing. There's still work, but it is part-time, and the fallback option of snagging a part-time position in retail, transportation, or healthcare is still out there. And people are going for that. Outside of Café Anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth. Look who is here.
Hello, Matthews. It's Chely Shoehart, the chef supervisor. I sell snow globes, Mike Matthews, and I don't use AI to make the snow globe.
Oh, that's wonderful. Hey, Chely, I got some comment today about you saying, hey, why does she spell her name like that?
Mike Matthews, I spell this name, Chely, because the way I do with a CH.
You will travel into the incredible universe.
And it's important to me that it's spelled with a CH, not an SH, Mike Matthews.
Excellent. Okay. It's with a CH. Is that kind of like a short for Michelle type thing?
Sure, whatever.
Okay, look who else is here. Oh, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman. And this is John Deere, the engineer, Michael. This AI talk has been fascinating. And it also means people losing jobs. But maybe there are jobs that people can get now that are created because AI has created a whole... a hole? Okay.
The cutting corners corner.
The cutting corners corner. It's cut a hole in the fabric of space-time. Is that what AI has done? And that's created jobs. Is that what you're saying? John Deere's walked away. This is befuddling. And very caused the question. A tsunami of questioning is what it is. There we go. Remember when people had diaries and got mad when someone read them? Now they put everything online and get mad when people don't. Let's see. What's this one? Kids today will never know the struggles of landing that needle perfectly between two songs. I don't know about that with all the vinyl that Taylor Swift has sold. Who can still remember their childhood telephone number? Ooh. Wow. I'm going to work on that one. I think I won't say it because I maybe have used that as a password somewhere or maybe not. But...
Hey, kids.
Oh, here's
it's me.
Look who it is.
Do-re-mi the clown.
All that from Winky went over. Winky sends me this stuff. She knew my mom. And when my mom passed away, she kept emailing me the stuff she'd email my mom. Because I told her I'd read when I was visiting my mom and I'd hang out with her in Florida. I would sometimes, she'd say to me, my mom would say, hey, my email's all messed up. What do I do? And I go, well, you click on this and this gets rid of spam and da-da-da. Oh, what's this email from Winky Wanover? And she'd say, oh, she sends me these funny things. And so now I get sent these funny things. And the last thing I'll say is the last bit of the latest email she sent. Old roads, old dogs, old folks, and old ways still have a lot to offer in this sped up world we all live in. What do you think of that? You can call me at this number.
Call Mike at the Café Anyway hotline. Area code 510-228-4640.
And with more ways to find out all Mike's daily podcast stuff, the podcast pictures, listen to past podcasts, etc. That's a word that means many ceteras. Or if you say hello to someone in another language, you can just say, hey, etc. And I will figure out what the heck it actually means. But, oh, it's also a financial group. Well, the cetera part is. Okay. And with more interesting information about Mike's Daily Podcast type things, it's A-Frame.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com.
Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com.
See you tomorrow. Bye.
Yes, etc. is a Latin phrase that means and the rest. There you go. Why don't we just say and the rest? Guess not. So it just shortened to ETC and used to indicate that a list is incomplete or has other items besides the ones mentioned. And the rest. And with all things and the rest and other podcasts, this podcast being FF episode 2830, 2830, you can go to mikesdailypodcast.com.